Ladies and gentlemen of NASA, this is Charles Xavier. Help is on the way.
Okay, so a lot has happened in the last week. I've been really busy working my main job, really, but also doing different other productions as well. And I finally made my way to see Dark Phoenix. Don't mind the setting, I'm actually recording in my office. And I'm gonna say, I have yet to find an office where the lighting actually looks good on my face. But then again, if you've seen the last Anthonix Maximus review, it looks like I've aged 5 years, so what can you do? Okay, so with Dark Phoenix, this is the non-spoiler, by the way, non-spoiler. So you have nothing to worry about. But you have seen the movie, you can listen to this, but I'll be releasing the spoilers soon enough. So Dark Phoenix, now the thing about this movie is, does it deserve the hate that it's been getting? No, not really. I mean, it's not a horrible movie. It's just okay. It's harmless, and that's probably why it's not the best. Since the plot is pretty much like X-Men The Last Stand, in a way. X-Men Last Stand didn't really touch much on the Phoenix where this does. I don't know which is better and which is worse. See, I guess I kind of gravitate towards The Last Stand, which is sad to say because I cannot stand Brett Ratner. But at least with that movie, it actually felt like an ending of a trilogy. This movie, which was supposed to be the end of all the Fox X-Men films, it really is underwhelming. And I actually feel like this movie was meant to lead into another movie. Because if this movie was to be like a filler movie, then it'd be alright. Because then we know another one was coming, right? But just didn't pan out that way. I just kind of felt it was boring. Let's just say the climatic scene at the end should have been much bigger. Because where they have the final battle with the bad guys, it's just, the truck agrees with me, it's just that, I don't know, if it was any other X-Men film, I would actually have guessed that this is the middle of the film. The action that's shown in the climax just doesn't feel like a final fight. And I also knew they meant for it to be bigger, because I knew going into the movie that scenes had to be reshot because they didn't want it to be similar to Endgame, Avengers Endgame. But if they had kept it as similar to Avengers Endgame, I think we would have been fine with it. Yeah, haters would say it's copying, but it's the X-Men. They're Marvel. The whole thing is supposed to be huge anyways. We're talking about the Phoenix. The Phoenix is a powerful force of several different galaxies, maybe even the universe. So the fact that this film confines the Phoenix to Earth is really disappointing. And they did the same thing with Last Stand. Except for Last Stand, it didn't involve Jean Grey getting her powers from a force. It was always within her. And this is where this movie confuses me, because it opens up implying that she had the power, but maybe it's just a little girl who couldn't handle her telekinesis. But as we learned from X-Men Apocalypse, she defeated Apocalypse. Spoiler if you haven't seen this one, but if you haven't seen that one, then why were you curious about this one? Anyways, she defeats Apocalypse by going Phoenix on him. So I really do have a problem with the newer X-Men films because they can't even stay within their own continuity. They made Days of Future Past to rectify everything, but it actually created more questions and made things really out of continuity. I really just felt like the actors just kind of got sick of being in the film. Everyone just didn't even feel right in their costumes. X-Men Apocalypse ended, my little rant again from the last Anthonix review. X-Men Apocalypse ended with the team actually wearing their standard outfits that you see in the comic books. My favorite, there were many different colors like blue and yellow and red, and just this film, they go back to what's similar to First Class. except for this one. Okay, it's not black and yellow, it's dark blue and yellow, but still, it's the same idea. And I know what they were trying to do. They were trying to go with the early 2000s Morrison X-Men comics, but I don't think anyone really liked that run. That's why it was rebooted. The new X-Men were just kind of overdone, and they made the new X-Men just so they can tie it into the 2000 X-Men film. So everything is just a mess with this film, and as I said, the actors just weren't fully there. I think they just wanted to be done with. It probably is because there were reshoots, and that's why they just seemed like they needed to be done with. There were some ideas that they tampered with where it just kind of paints Xavier as not a perfect man, and that's fine because in the comic books Xavier was always kind of sketchy about his way of running the X-Men anyways. I did appreciate that. I just thought it got silly though because the film has the X-Men being worshipped as heroes, and I'm not meaning like regular heroes going out and saving the day, like talking like Fantastic Four level type of hero worship. I don't know, it just didn't feel right for an X-Men film. Anyways, when you do go see the movie, if you do decide to go see the movie, and I say you should, I mean, again, it's not a horrible movie. I'll buy it to add to my collection and I'll watch it again. It's just, I'm not thinking it's up there as far as being a good film. But if you do go see it in a theater, don't worry, you don't have to sit through the credits if you don't want to, because there are no post-credit scenes. Everything you've guessed in the trailers actually happens in the film. So do with that information what you will. Take it easy.